Hello, Miles. This is, I sent you an email from, an Olivia Gmail account. I actually sent you 2 emails. And, it is very urgent that we speak. I'm being externally forced to contact you because there is just tons of information that is very urgent, very next level. My body is burning up. I'm really pressed, sort of forced to contact you. I have no other way of putting it. I have been sort of soft mind control used to. I have basically imagined for basically 2-3 months straight how I'm doing an interview with you on camera and everything. And I'm sorry for being in this state, but this is really heavy. There's no time. I've been in contact with, I should say, me and my mother. We're both in this same boat together. What was I going to say? We've been in contact with entities that, long story short, are at the edge of creation, that are way above the dimensions. And again, we have been a part of sorry about this. Sorry about the way I'm stressed and everything. Basically, we've been part of a sort of an extraterrestrial alternative of the MK Ultra, MI6, CIA super soldier programs. And I have been recovering memories for about a month straight, sort of about since Max Spears died. I have memories with him. My mother's heavily into intelligence, military. Her family is, she's got spies in her family and military all over, friends, contacts in her life, law enforcement, Navy. Jesus. Sorry, I'm burning up. I can't sleep, I can't eat properly. So, long story short.
Wednesday, 5:44 p.m.
Hi, Miles. It's me again. So, in the emails, there's 2 phone numbers. If you want, you could. If you're interested, please, they're there. They're at the miles@thebasisproject.org email. They're from Olivia. And the subject is extremely urgent, 2 emails. You can't miss it. Thank you.
Wednesday, 5:49 p.m. End of final message.
Okay, let's get a camera here. Number 2 and cut. Okay, Alex, welcome to Basis 62, part 2.
Thank you, Miles.
And you've actually made it into the studio. We've actually made it into record. You've got something to say. Now, based on what the reaction is to your first Skype interview, what do you feel about that?
Do you mean the comments?
Yeah.
Well, it's not my business really. I'm just here to pass on some information that is not. It doesn't come from me. It doesn't originate from me, or
Who does it originate from?
well, from secret projects and from beings higher up.
I said on the phone, which I'm going to use in the introduction to this part. I'm going to use your telephone message if I can.
Yeah,
I think
it's a bit awkward, but yeah.
It is awkward, but it gets across a situation where something urgent is happening. I mean, your
Definitely.
emails to me were urgent, urgent. What's the urgency in this?
Well, first, I don't know if that point, if I was able to say this in the Skype interview, but when I left you the voice messages, I was being basically possessed by somebody to contact you, and it was very taxing on the body. As I was burning up, and I felt like my heart was going to burst. And related to that, there's a video of you reading some text or an email from somebody.
Yeah.
And he says that this is a war and it's life or death, something along those lines. And this is basically the same thing that I've been told, that I have to come here, and it's not actually a choice of mine. I have no choice in this. If I don't do this, I get sick, basically, if I don't come here and share what I've got, all my memories and my mother's life story. Sorry?
What do you mean by you get a kicking? What do you mean?
I get sick.
Yeah.
And it worsens, and it leads up to...
Why?
If I don't want to do this, I'm possessed and then controlled, basically, remote controlled, to do whatever. For example, we didn't have a mic and a webcam set up at home, and they actually possessed me in order to get that as quick as possible.
Now,
How
did that happen in terms of possessed? I mean, what physical thing happened? What process happened?
Well, first, initially, you start feeling sick. You start feeling like your heart's going to burst, like you're going to have a heart attack. And it's just someone else starts talking through your mouth. And this is exactly what happened.
From your perspective, can you hear the voice going through you? Or are you like second... Are you sort of like a third person, or is second? You can sort of... Is this happening to you like a robot, or what?
I don't have control over my speech. Somebody else does. That's what happened. That's what happened with the voicemail. I was feeling very, very anxious, a great feeling of dread, and my Angelina, my mother, she tried to put me in a deep hypnosis, but I feel that it's a person, and someone from the intelligence aspire, whatever. I don't know who it is, but he actually broke through the deep hypnosis, and he said, now we must contact him now.
Okay.
It was very intense and very taxing, and
we've made contact. You're sitting in a chair.
Yeah.
We've got the cameras rolling. Hopefully the damn computer's recording as well.
Hopefully.
And what do you need to say? Let's just take it away.
Well, first I have to read my mother's life story. She's not able to be here. Okay, well, let's just get to it.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is not written by me. This is not written by us. It's from another source.
So this isn't written by your mother then?
No.
Okay. Read it out.
Okay. Angelina's life story is as important and relevant to Ahlex, that is me, as his experiences and memories to her. In 2011, they were both placed in the same complicated situation. Their lives were then manipulated in such a way to efficiently serve a certain purpose and work in covert operations. Family. there's actually some names here, but I'm not going to mention them all. And
Okay.
we have a full.
Just go ahead, yeah.
Yep. Okay, family tree. Family. Her mother has worked on a Navy military base for approximately 5 years. Not much is known about what she did there, and she was never seen in uniform. But she was involved in some type of drills and exercises, one of which was in a theater room directing naval vessels in simulated wartime. Most of her shifts were 24 hours long. My mother's... Sorry, this is my grandmother's brother was an officer in the land forces.
For which army?
Bulgarian. Eventually we're gonna have a chart, so this it's
Okay,
a bit yeah. Her father's cousin was a police officer, as well as her nephew is actually a police captain. Her father's cousin and his son were both first captains in the Navy, if that translates to anything. Okay, there's another relative who was a government helicopter pilot. Angelina's father's cousin was a spy. He was spying on the Americans in a Bulgarian embassy with a position of an economist attaché. His name is, I'm allowed to say this, his name is Penyu Kostadinov. In 1983, he was caught spying, and there's articles about him on the internet. People can look it up. This is a first or a second cousin of my grandfather.
Okay.
Okay. Angelina's health. At the age of 5, problems with her kidneys began. First kidney stone was removed. A lot of throat infections as a child with fevers. She has had her tonsils removed at the age of 6 due to life-threatening high temperature. She's being diagnosed with anemia with beta thalassemia as her mother. Actually, I have this as well. There were many cases of cancer on both sides of her family. Around 50% of her relatives had cancer. She had cysts in the ovaries and pains in the reproductive organs in general in later life. Career and education. Degree in engineering. Worked at a German firm in IT as a programmer, mainly test engineering for CAD/CAM systems. 2 years as a secretary for a small business doing sales of handbags. The owner was from Afghanistan. It was obvious that her position was totally unnecessary, but she was kept on a payroll for 2 years from his own income before moving to the UK. I know what you're thinking, but their relationship was strictly professional and no romantic advances were made. In other words, she was there just to have an income. Someone had secured that for her. When she came to the UK in early 2000s, she worked as a maid in central London, taking care after millionaires' homes, one of which was Russian. Penthouses and a church turned into a luxury home on the back of Harrods. What is interesting is that she was never actually asked to do anything. She just had to stay for a few hours in an empty home. They were already clean and tidy. For 4 years, she was a carer for wives of World War II veterans and disabled children. She studied at Delamar Academy of Makeup. Her last profession was a makeup artist for short movies and at a company arranging weddings. Classes and workshops. It's important to note that Angelina has never failed a class and always attained the skills she was learning at the level that she wanted. 90s. She studied many health-related practices including dietology, yoga, various physical exercises, acupuncture, reflexology, Japanese massages and others. Tarot, astrology, numerology, homeopathy, Ba remedies. Private Markov College with focus on enhancing mental abilities, coordinated complex problem solving, out-of-the-box thinking. ESP classes. Leaving the body, basic telepathy involving communicating letters, numbers, colors, emotional states, etc. A form of basic remote viewing. Locating an unknown object without any hint as to where it is hidden. Tuning the eye to be able to perform an X-ray diagnostic plus energetic healing. An example of this was diagnosing a smoker's lungs and purifying them. Performing a marionette dance blindfolded with someone pulling invisible strings from a distance. Time dilation exercises equalizing 10 minutes to 3 hours. In her free time, she and the other students were doing psychic pranks to people in cafes, making them itchy and uncomfortable and making them leave really quick. What is interesting to note is that my mother saw how a dowsing instructor was approached by people in military uniforms, and in a short time this person became very rich. He soon left. She remembers how he was explaining that you can kill someone in 24 hours if you just have their picture. Around the time he left, there was a newspaper article saying how the military has used psychotronic weapons targeting the whole city of Burgas for 3 days, this in Bulgaria on the coastline of the Black Sea, for 3 days, and the results were mass depression and increased suicide attempts. According to the book HARP, The Ultimate Weapon of the Conspiracy, Bulgaria, along with Russia, has apparently outlawed psychotronic weaponry in the 90s, meaning that this must have been true. International Insight 1 and 2. Multiple spiritual practices with goals such as discovering how the student's mind works and provocatively solving their deepest weaknesses. Teleportation class from a Russian who was a member of an unnamed secret society. He claimed that his organization has developed a working teleportation device in the 90s. Angelina couldn't go through and finish the class because of fainting. It was an intensive practice which included active meditation using complex schematics and visualizing spheres rotating and moving in certain complex trajectories. Notice, she's been to Andy Harrington, Tony Robbins, Aquarius Remedy course in Devon, 2 years of dowsing experience at College of Psychic Studies, London. Again, College of Psychic Studies, London, 2 courses a year each based on dowsing and its practical applications in life. Furthermore, dowsing can be applied to everything. One can tap into pools of information that can help them for things they wouldn't think of. The teacher of the advanced class randomly told Angelina that she'll achieve ascension in this lifetime. Private remote viewing classes. She was gifted an RV session by an instructor targeting the orange marks left many times on her hands. I've actually sent you photographs and I have some more.
Are those orange marks, are they visible under different kinds of UV light?
That wasn't checked.
Okay.
But it's clear. It looks like iodine mark. The source was a tall, benevolent grey. That's what the remote viewer established. 2009. Hypnotherapy courses specializing in past life regressions, gathering information, and healing through beings from higher realms, with the prospect of starting up a small healing life coaching center. This might be called the phase 2 of her life. A few years before that, she was almost suicidal because of the difficulties, pain, heartache, and many betrayals from close friends and family. There weren't any open doors, and she got tired from constantly fighting and gave up. She was intensely seeking liberation of her mind and soul all her life, but all of what she's previously practiced wasn't successful. This is a milestone for Angelina, as her drive, all of her interests and goals crystallized when she came in contact with C, these entities. Strangely enough, the giving up on life, finding freedom and happiness led her to this course and these beings. They behave and talk in a way akin to a spiritual master, as they claim they once were, eons ago. C expressed a point of view once that they are coming from a perspective where the creation has ended, and that we are actually talking to a recording, and that the recording doesn't know what happened with the original source of that recording. To them, we, the galaxy, the universe, the multiverse, upper dimensions and realms, the entire creation is actually in the past. They live in a different time, if that term applies to them at all. One of her main goals in life was to be able to gather information from the highest perspective and wisdom as possible. From this point onward, slowly these beings took the reins and put her life and Ahlex on a different track. With her motives in mind, in 2011 they advised her to give up her career. They said the same for her son's university education and pursuing any kinds of jobs whatsoever. They have since stayed at home. To this day, they give daily advice and instructions for virtually everything. Initially, Angelina wanted to use them to deal with past karma, issues, psychological blocks, so that she and her loved ones could reach ascension as soon as possible. Eventually, the ascension ideal and goal got delayed, and C began teaching them esoteric concepts, universal laws, uncovering secret agendas, malevolent alien influences, the organization, state, and workings of free alien societies, and comparing them to Earth's human society, worlds without reptilian control, as well as instances of conflicts, for example, a persecuted alien race they dubbed Aranea. C proposed to contact many local ETs and from distant places in the Milky Way, including a benevolent Grey nicknamed Michael, who is looking after Angelina and her family. Ahlex Collier's Morinae, collective Pleiadian entities who she talked with through Barbara Marciniak in her events, Ra from the Law of One material, non-biological mechanical beings, a member of the Aranea race, and our Milky Way Galactic Council, and some others. From time to time, they would plant information that becomes relevant years later. For example, that one of her estranged friends was kidnapped and made to work in an underground base. Slowly, from the new agey ascension concept, C started to draw Angelina and Ahlex to global conspiracies, explaining how the hierarchy works, the involvement of Saturn. He also explained the highly controversial topic of National Socialism, fascism, and what the deal was with Hitler. They have also given information regarding the fall of Atlantis, how humanity is being held in a one-dimensional mode of thinking, etc. Ahlex and Angelina almost never research anything by themselves. Relationships with malevolent people. This is regarding to my mother, Angelina. For most of her life, there were many instances of black magic and curses directed at her. Ahlex has witnessed the effects of some of them. This made Angelina's life hell. The curses range from minor headaches and unlucky daily life to shaking, inability to sleep, heart attack attempts to death and abortion curses. She has had many experiences with energy vampires and something called mountain devils. According to the Bush Remedies personality classification, this is the worst type of personality. They are possessive, highly manipulative, and most importantly, energetic vampires. 95% of everyone she knew in her life had these characteristics, starting from family members to distant acquaintances, which forced her to leave many friends and even family behind. Some of them, including her best friend, were practicing magicians. Boyfriends, two of her mothers-in-law, from which the death and abortion curses came from. We're almost at the end. Miscellaneous and paranormal. Due to the life and experiences that she's had, her definition of normal is highly distorted. Angelina's closest person ever was her aunt. When she was mourning her death from cancer, she had a strong desire for her aunt to call her, as she used to, and that is what must have happened, as in 4 a.m. the phone rang but there was only static. On her mother's deathbed, when she was starting to leave the body and see long-gone relatives, she massaged her feet a little bit and managed to keep her for an hour longer so that her son could see her before passing. Angelina's best friend brought some woman from Russia and she tried to make her kill herself by jumping from the window of her room. She thought that Angelina and her best friend are together and she was jealous. There was no doubt in my mother's mind that she had to kill herself. Fortunately, she had a massive fever, couldn't get up, became unconscious, and there were bars on the windows. Sometime later, she came and stayed there. This is her best friend. He came and stayed there for a few hours until her condition improved drastically and there were no symptoms anymore. He healed her. He's a magician. He does all that sort of stuff. In an enraged state, she exploded a drinking glass from 2-3 meters. The glass was special, made from something very durable, and it was often used as a hammer. There was an instance where she and 3 others, 2 of them being owners of their own car servicing centers, were going on a holiday and she was very emotionally distraught and disabled the car engine. Her boyfriend and his relative knew that the car was in pristine condition. When she got better, the car started. in one of her ESP courses, she spontaneously teleported a lost cassette 20 miles away in a known location through a distraught emotional state. Again, in one of these classes, she saw an astral being, a floating person wearing a black robe. When she fired a handgun for the first time in a shooting range, she had an extremely high accuracy, making a circle with her shots. First time shooting a crossbow, she shot in the same place, splitting the previous metallic arrow. In college, when she was conscripted for basic military training, she scored highest in pistol, AK-47, and general-purpose machine gun assembly and disassembly. In a stress situation, she spontaneously manifested a coin that dropped on an empty table from nothing. As a child, she had an obsessive attachment with the moon and was crying a lot because she couldn't get there. She was approached by a practicing witch who was very anxious to work with her. She declined. In 2002, she had a unique 14-hour experience where she perceived a higher order of the universe, the interconnected nature of reality. She was able to make personal predictions based on observing different timelines of relatives and friends. She marveled at the way people's lives are designed and how everything is moved by genius intellect. There was another instance where she fell in that state. She still perceives the interconnectedness of the world way up to this day. In the late 80s, Angelina's mother took her to exclusive lectures with speakers who were members of different secret societies and others who were descendants from Bogomils, agnostic sect, where they were making predictions about geopolitical events in Europe, Yugoslavia in particular, the economic struggles of Greece, Turkey's immigration issues. She was amazed at the level of detail, intelligence, and complex logic that they employed. They were drawing connections in a way that a regular person wouldn't. It was obvious for her that this was coming from a massive source of knowledge that is unknown and hidden. Through those lectures, she contacted the Russian and met my father. In these lectures, they were saying that anyone who is conceived on the territory of Bulgaria has a certain form of protection. It's said to be related to a paid collective karmic debt from the persecution and slaughter of Bogomils through the centuries. When she was 23 in university, she, her boyfriend, and a group of friends were celebrating Mother's Day. She took a sip of wine in the course of 3 hours. At the end of the evening, she was not feeling very well. He was not feeling very good. Angelina asked him if he wanted a cab. He said, "I'm not drunk at all," and immediately jumped through the window head first from the 3rd floor. The ground was concrete. He definitely fell on his head as his face was all bloody from the scraping from the wall, meaning that as he was falling, his face was scraping along the building. He was falling straight down. He got away with some grey hair and a mild epilepsy. He remained conscious for at least 30 minutes until reaching hospital. She had friends from Nicaragua who were military, and around the time of the incident, they told her that they had noticed new people moving in the dorms who were following her and monitoring her 24/7. She said that these people from Nicaragua had military experience, meaning that they were fighting in wars and stuff. Veterans. There was a serious investigation into whether or not she attempted murder. My mother was in shock and staring into nothing. Her friend, he attempted suicide for no apparent reason. He was a warm, kind person who would never do that. Her boyfriend's brother, who was working for Secret Services, took her in his home soon after the incident, where she stayed for 3 months. He rarely showed up. She says that he was like wearing a coat and like a classical sort of espionage-looking character with a suitcase and a coat. He rarely showed up for the 3 months. He was always away. His wife was very helpful, kind, and empathic. She said she went to a certain psychic who worked for the elites and politicians, the wife of this intelligence person. This psychic revealed what happened there and then, proving my mother's innocence and the condition of this person who attempted suicide, his health, and what kind of operations happened. In university, she had a very close friend whose mother was a UN representative of the Third World. The family was living in Zaire, Democratic Republic of Congo, until the brother got poisoned and became seriously mentally ill. The mother had to end her career as a UN representative and leave the country. Best friend, this is Angelina's best friend. He was approached by Masons with an invite to join. His grandfather was the Royal General of Tsar Boris III. Friends with the son of a minister who always got very stressed and hateful, staring at her with malice for no reason. Whenever she showed up, he was like intensely staring at her with great hate for no reason. Worked in Morocco for a prince. He invited Angelina for his wedding, and then through him there was a meeting with diplomatic representative from Bulgaria. In Casablanca, there's a different meeting with old aristocrats. On the Marrakesh market, she was heavily cursed. This is like the last page here. He and Angelina stayed at a Chechen millionaire's home near Barcelona. His home was self-sufficient, it had a generator, and it was built with massive walls to survive military-type conflicts. We have photos, I don't know if that will need to come up. Close to Munich, they stayed at another millionaire's villa who never showed up. In Berlin, they were guests to a millionaire Russian family. The wife was in the military, tasked with withdrawing Russian forces from East Germany back to Russia. The husband was a debt collector. Visited countries and cities, some more than once. Germany, first school trip to Potsdam, Sanssouci. It's a castle, lasting 3 weeks. Berlin, Munich. Morocco, Casablanca, Marrakesh, Rabat. Spain, Barcelona, Belgium, France, entire southern coast, Nice, Saint-Tropez, Lyon, Paris, Monaco, Holland. Italy, central and northern Italy, Canada, Toronto, Niagara Falls, Ottawa. Tenerife, Denmark, Copenhagen, Portugal, Lisbon, Sanctuary of Lady Fatima, with some spiritual experiences. And finally, the last paragraph, relevant past lives. In the 18th, 19th century, she was an Irish man he was a conspirator against the establishment, and he was beheaded at Westminster Abbey. This will come up in I'll get to that later. A German soldier who died in World War II, failed alchemist in the Middle Ages. In the 5th century AD, France, lone village girl who asked for angels and was contacted by Pleiadians who gave her esoteric knowledge and spiritual practices with the aim of processing karma, healing past trauma, and raising her frequency. Whew, that was a mouthful.
Well, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So what does she want you to say? What's the most important thing?
Well, about this is actually something that didn't make the sheet. Can I just sip of water? I'm sorry. When it says that in 2011 their lives were sort of derailed, and she was said to abandon her career, and they told that I should abandon any kind of prospects for education. I was about to study advertising, something that initially these beings proposed, marketing and management with advertising. The entire goal of everything, of our lives, was the ascension thing.
What do you
for
call
every day,
the ascension? What do you call the ascension?
it's related to the whole New Earth thing and the raising vibration, going to higher dimensions of existence.
And what do you mean by the New Earth thing? Are you talking flat Earth stuff or what?
No. This is fifth dimensional Earth, something that is, well, a heaven, for lack of a better word, compared to what we have here. This was the whole goal of everything, and there were many.
What I want to do is, if when you say a particular concept, that we get a definition from you as what you mean, as opposed to what others mean.
Definitely. Right, so the ascension. They were almost daily. There were sessions. There were deep hypnotic states where they would charge us with high frequencies and link us up with higher streams of energy. Something coming from the upper dimensions and upper realms. And eventually these sessions ended, and because we were constantly hooked to these streams. The effects of that, they gradually increased and they accelerated these energies. And so from around 2011, 2012 up until now, this force that we're constantly being zapped with is increasing. The effects of this are itching, headaches, intense emotional states, physical discomfort, inability to sleep, aches and pains that seem serious, but actually they go away after some time.
Bit like flu symptoms?
Well, it's... Well, not really. They're very random and unpredictable at sometimes. But what is characteristic about these symptoms is that most of the time they start at a particular hour. For me, it's about 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh, sorry, I'm touching the microphone there. It's about 3 in the morning.
When you have your problems, or
Yeah, this is where these energies increase a lot.
it's also the time when you've had the least sun, when the effects of the previous day wear out most, and that's when, between 2:30 and 3 is when you're the tiredest, or your body's at its dip.
Yeah, well, my sleeping pattern has been shifted, so I go to bed at around 5, 6, at least, and I sleep during the day hours until about 2 o'clock, and there's lots of you sort of lose control of yourself in a way when there's lots of stress and this energy. I don't know what to call it really. Tension is what they call it. Tension, a lot of tension, and the tools that they give us to deal with is a certain massage, that sort of like a soft massage, sort of grooming type things. Like there's particular spots on the body and the head and the armpits and the legs, this area as well, and a certain dowsing technique that they've implanted in her subconscious, where she has to actually douse about 3 hours a day so that she can actually function. We have a very low energy level, extremely low energy level. We barely, there's a little kid involved. We're 2 adults and we barely keep everything in motion. It's almost everything is done at the last minute.
Yeah.
And if we don't deal with this, if we don't do massage and with, there's certain magnets, rotating magnets that we have. If we don't do this,
What kind of magnets? There's different.
Should I say the brand? It's a brand. Can I say it?
Right. Oh, I don't know that, but
Well,
what does that mean?
It's a Japanese rotating. It's 2 spheres with some spikes that are used with massage, and you rotate them, and it relieves stress, in a way. And if we don't do any of that, it could lead to blood, nosebleeds, massive headaches, and if we really don't treat it, it leads to fainting and seizures.
What's causing that physiological change in your head and your body? What's doing that?
These energies, they are very high, and the body can't handle it.
Now, what do you mean by a high energy? An electrical field, or
I don't know what kind.
ideas.
It's well, it's out of this world. I can't really. I'm not.
Okay.
And this is related to a memory that I have that we can discuss.
A memory from when? More
Well,
about what?
well, I'm at least a teenager or older, so maybe at least 18 years old, I guess. Do you want to go into that?
Yes. Now, really, okay, you've read out a hell of a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I had to.
Yeah.
This is not.
Okay, who says you had to, and what does that person, why does that person need to talk to me or need to convey, through so-called basis?
Well, this is not the only thing.
Okay.
There's lots more.
Oh yeah, but why
we
that?
need to
Why are you doing
It's
it?
background.
What's the basic point you want to get across here? I mean, last night you were talking about roasting reptilians. I mean, really
Yeah.
causing them a huge amount of injury and hurt.
Yeah.
What's the reason for all this?
Because this is an important information that needs to come out, and I'm used as a vehicle. These memories, they're selectively put there, that for me to talk to you and to release them so that people would know.
Okay.
I wouldn't come here if it wasn't for whoever's controlling me and remotely accessing me.
So you don't actually know who's made you come here.
Well, it's the Fourth Reich.
Right. Okay. Now, what do you mean by the Fourth Reich? Okay, Hitler
There's
didn't die, started to create something, but okay.
No, well, the information about Hitler, and probably this is a good point. This is a good place to say it now. Is that these beings that she contacted through these hypnotherapy courses, through deep hypnosis, they say that Hitler is actually his soul is a chunk from the Earth's soul, and that he came here with a mission that was failed. He had a mission. He actually had information about the Reptilians and the whole conspiracy that the Reptilian conspiracy about the whole extraterrestrial
thing. What do you mean by that? What does this story mean by that? Are we talking David Icke stuff or what?
Yeah, it's true. It's there's lots of confirmations about that. There's benevolent reptilians, but the most influential reptilians that we have here are negative and psychopathic and etc. So
are you here to save us from this, to tell us about it, or what?
Well, I'm here to discuss my memories as well, and I also have to say this about Hitler. His soul was from the planet Earth, who wanted to get rid of the reptilian menace. Now, of course, there's the whole Holocaust thing, and they say that his movement and everything that he's done was actually infiltrated by reptilians, and the stuff that James Casbolt and Max Spears talk about, and a lot of other.
Specifically, what parts of what Casbolt and Spears talked about?
Well, they say that the Fourth Reich are human-reptilian hybrids, but originally they weren't. They were human. They were on the side of humanity. So the whole Nazi thing was the popular Nazi concept, the popular Nazi understanding is a result of reptilian interference. If people look at David Irving's work, he basically says that Hitler was kept in the dark, and that there's Himmler and Heydrich.
Heinrich.
Yeah.
He died. He was taken over by Hamler, or Kamler. I don't
know. I'm not a researcher.
Okay.
Like I said, this is. He says that David Irving, who's in jail now, I think.
Yeah.
he says that Hitler was kept in the dark and didn't know pretty much anything about the Holocaust. So
Now, who
the
was keeping him in the
Reptilians
dark?
basically blackmailed the whole National Socialist movement and Hitler because he was going to reveal a lot of secrets.
Can you do this now?
Well, he was going to go out like David Icke. Basically, at one point there was he expected the World War, and he expected a war with America later. This was apparently his plan. That unless he was thinking it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary to have well, it is. Apologize. He expected world wars in order to, because he knew that what he was up against. So the Nazi government, it was infiltrated by reptilians, but Hitler at the top, he wasn't a part of them. Do you see where I'm?
Who were the reptilian elements within the Nazi party that caused the problem?
I don't know. Well, people who have carried a Holocaust, because if there was no Holocaust, I'm not getting into the how many Jews died thing, but
I mean,
if there was no
Holocaust denier
Holocaust,
gets you into a lot of trouble.
I'm not Holocaust denier.
Right. So
Lots
what
of them
are you
died.
talking about the Holocaust? What are you referring to? What's the beef about that? The reason why I'm saying that is
It's a very
because
sensitive issue.
there are
I know.
elements from Barry King, the first basis witness. His father found strange-looking humans in labs in Germany, and they were
I'll get to
using different racial attributes and characteristics from the concentration camps for these experiments to deal with encountering these reptilians and other ETs. So when you
Does he actually say that?
when you physically engage, and when you physically as a human being meet an ET, now they didn't specify reptilian, the biogenic force field from the other being and the human being are incompatible, and both individuals can get confused. They won't be able to operate, think clearly and properly. So they, from what we understand, was that they were using the concentration camps. I'm not saying that's why the concentration camps are there, but since they had them there, they were using different attributes from different races to see what would work so that this didn't happen when you physically met one of these beings.
Okay.
So you became coherent and you were still logical and you could think properly. And that's postulated why Casbolt was used in that assassination of Anthony Rose, because he's had an alteration within his physiology, so that if he does meet a reptilian, he won't have his energetics confused and he will be able to carry out the mission. That's the basic principle.
Yeah.
Well, whether that actually happened or not is another thing.
Yeah. Well, it goes further than that. There's, everybody knows about about the experiments and the whole breeding programs in Nazi Germany. It's common knowledge. But what these beings say that is that what he was trying to do is, because they were sanctioned by the Chancellor Hitler, he was basically trying to fight fire with fire. He was trying to genetically engineer, do stuff with eugenics in order to create the Uberman. That's where the thing comes from. He wanted to create the Uberman in order to fight the reptilians.
I mean, that seems to be the start of the so-called super soldier program, or the non-human cyborg units, or the program-generated life forms.
Yeah, well, all of the information that is... Sorry. All the information regarding the super soldiers on the internet, most of it is... it's pretty grim and dark, and it's not used for good, shall we say.
Yeah.
It's grim stuff, and none of it is actually doing any good to humanity, doing service to the greater good. But this Hitler's super soldier program, the whole perspective behind that was to fight these ETs. And what you mentioned about Burger King, I didn't know that, but it seems to tie in with that.
So Hitler was
Hitler himself. I'm not talking about other Nazis. There was a Holocaust. There definitely was. Hitler was kept in the dark, but he that's sorry. So you wanted to ask what? Sorry.
Yeah. Do you want a glass of water?
Thank
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah. Well, why don't we just have a quick fade to black on that, and we'll
Okay.
pick up with after we get another glass of water. Okay.
Okay.